Alrighty, folks, we're 3-0 with a push in my last 4 Major League Baseball tier membership plays on my premium page. And the good news is I've got another Major League Baseball tier membership play going off here today for Tuesday. That play's already posted and ready for access in the post section. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my free pick video here today. For Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to the new week. Hopefully you are nice and recovered from July 4th weekend. I know a lot of folks who they were hitting it hard over the 4th of July weekend. So hopefully you're nice and recovered for the new week. And if you're joining me for the first time here today, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And we're also 7-1 in our last 8 crowd pleaser teasers on my premium page as well. We also hit on 3 out of our last 4 daily best plays. And the good news is I've got plays going off in both of those memberships here today as well. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into some free content. Going to start off with the Mets at the Orioles, 6:35 Eastern first pitch. The Mets are minus $1.35 at Camden Yards, totals 10. Clay Holmes on the bump for the Mets, Brandon Young for Baltimore. The righty Young is 0-3 through 16-plus innings of work, ERA in the 7s. These Baltimore pitchers allow nearly double-digit hits a game. They're actually in the bottom 5 in runs allowed per contest. Doing a poor job keeping these guys in games. And they're going to face a Mets lineup who does a pretty nice job at the dish. They really don't strike out a whole bunch, and they do take a lot of free passes on the road. They're pretty selective at the plate. Juan Soto with an OPS in the 900s. No real surprise there. This is a guy who works the count, walks a lot. Depending on how long his career, man, I don't know. He's going to be up there, maybe not surpassing Bonds, but this is going to be like an all-time walk guy. This guy is really patient at the dish. Pete Alonso, 20 home runs, 73 RBI, OPS in the 900s as well. And because of that run support, starting pitcher Clay Holmes comes into today's matchup with an 8-4 record on the year. And when it comes to the total, the Mets' last 3 straight on the road did get over the total. 8-2 to the over in their last 10 at any location. I like the Mets minus 135 over 10. Rays Tigers 6:40 Eastern start. Detroit's minus $1.20. Totals 8.5. Ryan Pepio for the Rays, Jack Flaherty for Detroit. The Tigers are on a 4-game winning streak, 7-2 straight up in their last 9. Out of 45 total contests at Comerica Park, the Tigers currently have a .689 win percentage in front of their own crowd. And a lot of that success has to do with the bats. Detroit's currently a top 5 run-scoring team. Riley Green with 22 homers, 72 RBIs. Zach McKinstry with an on-base percentage of .355. And they're going to face Ryan Pepio for the Rays. 6 losses on the year, does not have a winning record. And this Tampa Bay pitching staff is in the bottom 10 in strikeouts per game on the road. Now, 6 out of the Rays' last 10 ball games did get over the total. 4-3 to the over in their last 7 on the road. I like Detroit minus $1.20. Over 8.5. Mariners, Yankees, 7:05 East. New York's $1.20. Totals 9. Will Warren for the Bombers. Logan Gilbert for Seattle. And despite some good stuff out of Gilbert, the M's really don't want to win for the guy. He comes into today's contest with just 2 wins on this season. Does not have a winning record. And as a staff, the M's have struggled allowing base runners on the road. They're in the bottom 3 in hits allowed in their travels. They're facing a Yankee club who's got little problems getting on the scoreboard. The Pinstripers average over 5.1 runs per contest. And Aaron Judge definitely has a lot to do with that. 33 homers, 74 ribbies. currently leading the league in batting average and OPS. And Trent Grisham, he's got 16 homers, on-base percentage in the 350s. And because of that run support, starting pitcher Will Warren has a handful of wins on the year, winning record thus far in the season. Yankee games went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. 2 out of the Mariners' last 3 on the road got over the total themselves. I like the Yankees minus 120, over 9. Rockies, Red Sox, 7:10 Eastern start. Boston's 240, totals 9. Brian Bayo for the Red Sox, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's just 1-9 on the year, ERA of 5.49. And as a staff, the Rockies are allowing nearly 11 hits a game on average, 6.1 runs per contest. And they're facing a Boston club who actually does some of their best hitting at Fenway Park. The Red Sox are in the top 5 in runs per game on their own diamond. Now, 5 out of the Red Sox last 7 home games got over the total, 8-2 to the over in their last 10 at any location. I like the Red Sox minus 1.5. Over 9. Marlins, Reds, 7:10 Eastern start. Cincinnati's $1.25, totals 9. Nick Martinez for the Reds, Yuri Perez for Miami. Now, Perez has just 1 win on the year, ERA of 4.50. And as a staff, the Marlins have been pretty brutal on the road. They're allowing nearly 6 runs a game in their travels. And they're facing a Reds lineup who has done a nice job scoring runs. They're in the top 10 in runs per contest. Ellie De La Cruz with 60 RBI, 22 stolen bases. TJ Friedl with an on-base percentage of 364. And out of the Reds' last 10 meetings with the Marlins, they've done a nice job with Miami pitching. They averaged 5.6 runs a game during that span. And no real surprise, the over cashed in 60% of those head-to-head meetings. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Miami with overs in 3 out of their last 4 on the road. I like Cincinnati minus $1.25, over 9. All right, next game. Cubs, Twins, 7:40 Eastern start. Chicago's $1.40, totals 9. Shota Imanaga for Chicago. Simeon Woods Richardson for the Twins. Now, Richardson is just 4-4 with an ERA of 4.41. And as a staff, these Twins pitchers have definitely struggled this year at Target Field. They're in the bottom 10 in runs allowed in their own building. And they're facing a Cubbies lineup who averages about 6 runs a game on the road. Seiya Suzuki, 25 homers, 77 ribbies. He's actually the league leader in runs batted in. And Matt Bush with 56 RBI himself, OPS of 950. And because of that run support, lefty Shota Imanaga's recorded only 2 losses on the year. 5-2 record coming into today's contest. Now, Cubbies games went 60% to the over in their last 10. 3 out of the Twins' last 4 at home got over the total themselves. I like the Cubs minus 140, over 9. All right, next matchup, Dodgers, Brewers, 7:40 Eastern start. LA's minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Clayton Kershaw for Los Angeles, Jacob Mizrowski for Milwaukee. Now, the Miz is 3-1 on this season. Brewers with a .622 win percentage at American Family Field. And at the plate, there's been a little shortage of runs for Milwaukee for much of the season. They're actually in the top 10 in runs per contest. Christian Yelich, 18 homers, 63 ribbies. Bryce Terang, on-base percentage of 352. And they're going to take on a struggling Dodger club who lost their last 4 straight and actually gave up 38 total runs during that short span. And as solid as Kershaw's been, this Dodger staff as a whole has been less than stellar. They're in the bottom 10 in runs allowed per game. Now, 8 out of the Dodgers' last 10 gatherings with the Brew Crew did get over the total. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. And as far as this season's concerned, LA saw overs in 3 out of their last 4 games. I like the Brewers plus 105, over 8.5. Pirates, Royals, 740 East. Kansas City's $1.35. Totals 8.5. Seth Lugo for the Royals. Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. And do not let Keller's record fool you. This guy has dealt for most of the year. ERA of 3.64, whip of 1.19. And as a staff, the Bucs allowed just 7.2 hits per nine in their travels. And they're facing a sputtering Kansas City lineup who rarely gets on base. They're actually dead last in walks per game, and they're averaging only 3.3 runs per contest. Now, total-wise, the Royals saw unders in 62% of their games at Kauffman Stadium. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh saw unders in 3 out of their last 4 on the road. I like the Pirates plus $1.15, under 8.5. Blue Jays, White Sox, 7:40 Eastern start. Toronto's $1.85, totals 9. Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays, Aaron Savali for Chicago. And once again, as I've indicated before on this program, the White Sox are a decent run line covering team despite how bad they are. They're currently 25-19 against the number at Rate Field. And they're facing a Toronto lineup who does not hit all that well on the road. They're averaging just 3.7 runs a game in their travels. Now, total-wise, 3 out of the White Sox last 4 at home stayed under the number, 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the White Sox plus 1.5, under 9. All right, next game, Nationals, Cardinals, 7:45 Eastern first pitch. St. Louis is minus 215, totals 8.5. Sonny Gray for the Redbirds, Jake Irvin for Washington. And Irvin's definitely allowed his fair share of runs this year. Currently has an ERA of 4.71. And as a staff, the Nationals have pretty much sucked. They've stunk away from the Capitol. They're in the bottom 3 in runs allowed on the road. And they're facing a Cardinal lineup who's got little problems making contact at Busch Stadium. They're fanning only 6.9 times a game at home, top 10 in hits per game in their own building. Wilson Contreras has 51 RBI. Brendan Donovan on-base percentage of 367. And because of that ample run support, starting pitcher Sonny Gray comes into today's start with an 8-3 record on the year. Now, total-wise, 3 out of the Nats' last 4 road games got over the number, 9-1 of the over in their last 10 at any location. I like the Cardinals minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. All right, next game, Guardians, Astros, 8:10 Eastern start. Houston's minus 210, total 7.5. Hunter Brown for the Astros, Joey Cantillo for Cleveland. As a team, the Guardians finally broke their losing streak yesterday. I will give that to them. They lost their last 10 straight before getting the W last night. But having said that, I don't know if we're turning over a new leaf because we're still looking at a team who is now just 1-10 in their last 11 games, losing record this year in their travels. And a lot of that shittiness has to do with the bats. The Guardians are averaging under 3.6 runs a game at the plate. And they're facing a Houston pitching staff who is typically dominant. They've been dominant for much of the season. They lead the league in strikeouts per game, giving up just 3.4 runs per contest in their own building. And we should see more of the same with 9-3 Hunter Brown, ERA of 1.82, whip of 0.90. The righties also punched out 126 hitters. Now, Houston home games have gone 60% to the under in front of their own fans. Guardians road games went 62% to the under this year themselves. I like the Astros minus 1.5, under 7.5 in the tight window. Rangers, Angels, 9:38 East. LA's $1.20, totals 8. Jose Soriano for the Angels, Nathan Eovaldi for Texas. And listen, Eovaldi's been tough to hit against. 1.75 ERA, 0.85 whip. Of course, as a staff, the Rangers are limiting opposing teams to just 3.5 runs a game. And they're going to take on an Angel clubhouse who definitely has trouble making contact with the baseball. They're fanning more times a game than any other lineup. And They also rarely walk at the plate. They're averaging just 7.3 hits a game on their own field. Now, 6 out of the Angels' last 10 meetings with the Rangers fell under the total. So once again, historical trends, certainly want to think about that. Rangers with unders in just about 60% of their contests away from Globe Life Field. I like the Rangers plus $1, under 8. Diamondbacks, Padres, 940 East. San Diego's $1.35, totals 8. Nick Pivetta for the Padres, Merrill Kelly for Arizona. And despite some solid stuff out of Kelly, the D-backs do tend to pitch poorly on the road. They're in the bottom 5 in runs allowed in their travels, and they're facing a Padres team who's they've been pretty patient at the dish. I know we've been talking about that with the Mets. The Padres also patient at the dish. They're in the top 3 in walks per game at home. They're actually fanning just 6.1 times a game at Petco Park. If I'm not mistaken, that's lowest in Major League Baseball. Fewest strikeouts per 9 at home. Manny Machado with 15 homers, 53 RBI. Fernando Tatis with 15 homers, on-base percentage of .356. 7 out of the Padres' last 10 outings did get over the total. D-backs with overs in 7 out of their last 10 themselves. I like San Diego minus 135, over 8. Phillies, Giants, 945 East. San Francisco's $1.55, totals 8. Robbie Ray for the Giants. Taijuan Walker for Philadelphia. Now, Walker comes into today's game with an ERA of .364. Phillies pitching has been quite superb on the road. Philadelphia averages nearly double-digit strikeouts a game in their travels. Just 3.4 runs a game allowed on the road. And they're taking on a Giants lineup who really isn't overly prolific. This is a bottom 5 hit-producing team. And out of their last 10 meetings with Philadelphia, these Giants sluggers have struck out 104 times during that span. Giants games went 60% to the under in their last 10. Philadelphia with unders in 7 out of their last 10 themselves. I like the Phillies plus 1.5, under 8. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Braves, Athletics, 10:05 Eastern first pitch. The A's are minus $1.20, totals 10. Jeffrey Springs for the Athletics, Didier Fuentes for Atlanta. Now, currently the struggling Braves have actually hit well against the A's in recent gatherings. They typically hit well against A's pitching. They're averaging nearly 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with the A's. And as far as this season's concerned, well, Atlanta's been very patient at the dish. They're walking more times a game than any other roster on the road. Ronald Acuna with an OPS in the thousands. Matt Olson with an on-base percentage of .368. And they're going to face a 6-loss Jeffrey Springs, who currently has an ERA in the 4s. And as a staff, these A's pitchers have definitely struggled at Sutter Health Park. They're allowing nearly 6.5 runs a game there. Now, total-wise, the A's have seen 63% of their interleague games get over the number. Braves with overs in 7 out of their last 9 interleague road games themselves. I like the Braves plus $1, over 10. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Give me the Mets minus 135, over 10. Tigers minus 120, over 8.5. I am 3-0 with a push in my last 4 Major League Baseball tier membership plays on my premium page. Give me the Yankees minus 120, over 9. Red Sox minus 1.5, over 9 runs. Cincinnati minus $1.25, over 9. Cubs minus 140, over 9. Milwaukee plus, is that plus 105 or plus $1.15? Can't read the handwriting. Give me one sec. Milwaukee plus, what we got Milwaukee? I can't read my handwriting here. Very poor production on my part. I'll wait all day if I gotta. Where's it at? Did I skip over the Brewers game? Oh, Dodgers Brewers, yeah. Milwaukee plus 105. Give me Milwaukee plus 105, over 8.5. Pirates plus $1.15, under 8.5. White Sox plus 1.5, under 9. Cardinals minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Astros minus 1.5, under 7.5. Rangers plus $1, under 8. Padres minus 135, over 8 runs. Phillies plus 1.5, under 8. Give me the Braves plus $1, over 10. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And just a friendly reminder, if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium page, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And all of my cheaper memberships will also be included with your membership during that time frame. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, folks, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.